The EduTech guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida from Thursday, January 25th, 2018. Enjoy the program.
So my name is Kerry Gallagher. I'm a digital learning specialist at a school called St. John's Prep in Danvers, Massachusetts. It's an all-boys school, grades 6 through 12. We have about 1,500 boys on campus.
Oh, wow.
We're one-to-one. I've been there for about 3 years, and prior to that, I was a middle and high school history teacher, just kind of, doing the thing in the classroom.
Yeah.
I also do some work in internet safety. I'm the director of education for a nonprofit called Connect Safely, and we partner with companies like Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and Comcast and Google and all of the big ones to talk to them and work with them on best practices in safety measures for their users so that users still have the benefit of those awesome services and tools and are aware of all of the safety measures that are in place to protect them at the same time.
Yeah, cool.
That's awesome.
So what brings you to FETC? One session?
I'm doing one session this year. Last year I did 3, so
Wow.
I'm happy to be doing one. It's
Yeah.
really relaxing
Well, now
and
you can
lovely.
actually do all the other
And
stuff.
talk to people
Yeah.
and not be spending the whole time prepping for the
Yeah.
session. And it's a poster session, which I've actually never done one before.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. As a presenter, I feel like we get all hyped up for the standing in front of people and making it interactive. And I'm excited to just be in a poster session and
Yeah.
have people walk around and have
Yeah.
conversations
More
like you all do.
Yes.
Yeah, more
Yes.
one-on-ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it should be fun.
So summarize your poster sessions. Our listeners will.
Sure. So my poster session is with my colleague Julie. She works with me at my school, and it's called Forget PD, Lead Change Through Modeling. So the idea is that we do run formal PD, but when we do, it's not, come and learn about this tool or come learn Google Drive or come learn Twitter. It's come learn about formative assessment or come learn about student voice. And then we model the use of the tools within the workshop so the students experience, or who are our teachers,
Right.
experience what the students would experience if they themselves implemented it in their classrooms.
Yeah.
And we found that that's led to an uptick in adoption of new teaching strategies, new digital tools in our teachers' classrooms. And we've seen some significant progress in the last year and a half since we shifted that approach. So she and I started around the same time. And the approach the school had taken to PD had been very tool-based prior. So we went along at first and then really made a conscious shift, and we've seen some great results.
That's
So-
cool. It sounds like that would create quicker PD. It would go by quicker, but it would generate some great response and questions at the end. And so the learning has to be accelerated for your teachers, and a much more happy experience for them.
Yeah, I mean, when they experience a professional learning opportunity where they're up and moving and where they're interacting with each other, and it's not just that, sit and get, and they see how exhilarating that is and how much they are able to interact and learn with their colleagues, then they're like, I could probably do this for my students. And then that tends to lead to those one-on-one consultations where we're sitting down and meeting with the teacher and co-planning a lesson or a new project with them and then helping them roll it out. For some of them, it feels like a big risk and it's scary, so we'll go right into the classroom with them so they're not alone. And for others, they're like, why didn't I do this before? And they just take it and go.
Right.
So.
Well, and a lot of times you find that there are districts who the teachers, they're already doing that with the students in the classrooms in terms of changing the way that they're teaching and the way students are learning. But then when they go to PD, it's the sit and get. It's the exact same thing we're telling them not to do with their students, we're doing to them. And it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense.
Right. As someone who taught for 13 years, one of my, there are 2 best things about being a teacher. One is the kids or teenagers are like just really fun to hang out with all day. So there's that. But number 2 is the designing of the lesson, like the tinkering and playing around with things. And then you go into your class and you say to the kids, guys, we're going to try this. I've never done it. It might not work. If it doesn't work, tell me it's not working and let's see what we can do.
Right.
And it's exhilarating to do that, to
Yeah.
try new things and to have success. And if it does fail, to tinker with it with the kids so that the kids get to be a part of it. I think for some teachers that can be a little scary because the control, a lot of us teachers are, I can speak for myself. I was really, really good at school. And so, I'm a type A. Controlling everything makes me more comfortable, and you have to let go of that. Yeah. So that also means that in some of our PDs where we're modeling this, sometimes it doesn't work. So we're really open at that moment and say, so you know what? We just wanted to give it a shot. It didn't work. How might we try this differently next time?
Right.
So.
Right. And how many times, whether it's teachers working with students or teachers or whoever else is presenting the PD with those teachers who are taking the PD, how many times are you trying something and it doesn't work, and you're looking for the solution, and it's the learner who comes up with the solution, and then it's kind of like,
that's the best. Yeah. It's also, I mean, as educators, at least I spend a lot of time researching about pedagogy and best practices. And now, as someone who's essentially a teacher coach, I spend a lot of time researching andragogy, right? Adult learning needs. And so the needs that adults have in some ways are very similar to kids, and in some ways are really different. They need to be met where they are. They need to feel validated in their concerns and validated in the things that they're confident in. And then they need to be given this safe space. And I think a lot of teachers don't feel that safe space. That's what's missing. So we work really hard to provide that, and to provide that for all of our teachers. We have if you follow the curve of innovation, there's like your laggards at the end, right? That terminology, and there's sort of your lead horses at the front. So making sure that there's just as much safe space for those, risk takers as there is for those laggards is tricky when you're designing professional learning.
Sure.
But it's worth the effort. Because then everyone's making progress at a pace that they're comfortable with.
So, 2 questions.
Sure.
The first one, have you had any students that know that this is happening, because the kids pick up on that really quickly? Have you had any that say, hey, let's try this. Can we help create,
So
a modeling, event for the other teachers?
So, have the students create the PD for the teachers.
Well, and get involved in it, Or maybe show up and be part of it just so that the teachers can go, oh, this is what's supposed to happen.
So we run a kickoff conference in mid-August. So in New England, we start school after Labor Day. And so in mid-August, we run a kickoff conference called Jumpstart. And we traditionally have at least 1 or 2 sessions that are co-presented with like a teacher and his or her students. And we usually have 1 or 2 student keynote speakers too. And we essentially select the students who we know have something different to say, and ask them, like, what is it that you want your teachers to hear? What is it that you want to talk about? And then coach them through the keynote prep and all of that. And those sessions tend to be, they generate a lot of discussion. Sometimes the teachers are hearing what the kids are saying and they're like, how dare they say that? And that's a really interesting discussion, and that's okay. Like those uncomfortable discussions are where the growth happens. So I'm all for them. And sometimes they hear what the kids have to say and they're like, oh, I didn't know that they thought that way, or that's amazing. I wasn't giving them enough credit. So so those have been rewarding. I do think integrating the kids more and more is a really important part of, but on the other hand, I know that there are some teachers who aren't ready to learn from kids yet. So like I said, differentiating those experiences is important.
So my second question was, how many teachers have now said, listen, I'd like to model?
Oh, for other teachers? Yeah, so we have, we launched...
So you're building your own PD?
Yes. So we launched at the beginning of this year what we call our Innovative Ed cohort, and it's a cohort we asked teachers to apply. 10 teachers got accepted, and they don't get any credits for being part of it. They have to be entirely intrinsically motivated. So I'm a big fan of Dan Pink's drive and that idea that I really want the people in this cohort to be the people who want to do this because it's at the core of who they are, and not because they're doing it for the credits, because I won't get the same commitment or the same results out of it. And we offer PD for credits and all that stuff for others. And their only reward is that we're one-to-one with iPads. So all of our teachers get both a laptop and an iPad from the school. These teachers get the big boy iPad Pro with the pencil and the keyboard. Cool. So they get just a monster of an iPad to play with, and that's their only benefit. And some of the stuff that they've been putting together and dreaming up has been really inspiring. And we're only halfway through the school year. And already they're saying to us, we have to present this at Jumpstart next year. We have to be a part of this. We have to help you design Jumpstart. So in the past couple of years, Jumpstart has been designed by us digital learning specialists with lots of teacher presenters. This year, I really want to use the value of the brains in that cohort to redesign Jumpstart from the ground up. They don't know that yet. Don't tell them.
We won't tell them.
But that's the plan.
All you guys have just heard that, pretend you didn't hear
that. All right, St. John's Prep people.
That's right.
That's gonna, but that's really going to expand the narrative.
Yes.
For a lot of people.
So I think that's another really important thing with the reading I've done on andragogy is it's important with students too, that student voice, being involved in the process, being part of the solution, coming up with the idea, acknowledging both your strengths. teachers are inherently blessed with humility, right? So they can identify their strengths, but they also know their weaknesses.
Right.
So creating a space where they can feel comfortable sharing both of those and coming up with a way to address their weaknesses and share their strengths is like the magic solution to all of it.
Yes.
So,
well, and that's such a, like you said, they're blessed / cursed with humility, right? Because that's one of the things, a lot of educators don't want to take credit for the awesome things they're doing and are like clinically aware of what they're doing, of what the shortcomings are.
Well, and I think a lot of them think that what they're doing isn't really that special when it is, in fact, quite amazing. And I mean, I was one of those teachers like 10 years ago until I started blogging. I started blogging as part of like a graduate program that I was in. And we had to blog for the teacher facilitator on, do you remember Ning?
Yeah.
On a Ning.
Yeah. Oh my
Remember
God.
that?
Wow,
Remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
I know. So I'm older than I look. So so we had to blog, but it was all very contained. And I got frustrated about 2 blog posts in because I'm like, I'm working my butt off on these blog posts, and the only people reading it are the people in my cohort. So I started posting it just on a blog.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, people are like, that's an amazing lesson. How did you come up with it? And I'm like, really? It is? So giving teachers the opportunity to share their work and get some feedback, it can really open some doors for them and change their perspective on what they do.
That's one of our big deals is we say, how can you, if you can't share your story, how can you help them share theirs? And that's a big deal. And we have to be our own cheerleaders sometimes in education. Yeah. And there's the thing, it's a small market. You're not going to find some people that are going to read what we have to say, but the educators are.
Right.
And they're going to come on board. And you're going to have those that go, oh, why does this person think they can do that? But a lot are going to go, awesome.
Right.
Maybe I need to post my stuff too. That's what I need to get out there.
And every school culture and every, community and every student is different. So the solution that doesn't work for you is going to work in a different school with a different culture with different needs. So it's just important to have it all, or if it doesn't work for you, you can tweak it so that it does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the great thing about education is that it's very scientific in terms of the research, but it also is such an awesome creative outlet. There's unlimited opportunities for changing things and redeveloping things, and it's what makes it great every day.
Yeah, well, and you were talking about how a lot of times the things that a lot of educators do, and like you said, I didn't think I did was awesome. It was just out there. We get that a lot. If we can just get people to sit in the chair. I know what what some folks think they're doing is just I do my thing every day, and it's so fun to once people start talking about what they're doing, and then all of a sudden, of course, we're very excited about what they're doing, which in turn helps them get excited about it. But a lot of times, until you get some of that feedback, you don't realize, until you had other people saying, oh my gosh, this is awesome, you didn't really think much about it. Well, then other people start, and you go, oh, well, okay, well, here's what I was doing, and, and all of a sudden, then that helps you see that, actually, I can reach other people, I can touch other people, not necessarily get a big head about it, but by the same token, there ain't nothing wrong with a little pat on the back.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that actually is a thing.
I mean, we're not in this profession for the money, right?
Got that right.
So a little bit of recognition for some hard work goes a long way. And I was in a meeting on yesterday morning before I flew in here with a bunch of teachers, and there was a teacher, he's like 10 years into his career, and he said, I came in thinking I was going to change the world. And now I realize they just graduate and they leave. And you don't really know if you made a dent or not. And, when do you get that feedback, and when do you get that? And we need to make sure teachers get that feedback. Yeah. So we need to find ways to make that happen.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
definitely.
Awesome.
I want to ask one more thing. ConnectSafely.org.
Yeah.
Just a little bit about it
before
we wrap up.
Sure. It was founded by Larry Magid. He's been a technology journalist for decades, like one of the first technology journalists. He writes for the San Jose Mercury News. He has a daily radio spot on CBS News that's syndicated nationwide, where he reviews sort of the latest developments and releases in technology. And he was, sort of inspired by, especially a few decades ago, sort of the stranger danger perspective of allowing kids to go online. And now that perspective is less of a worry. And now there's all these other concerns we have, like bullying and, kids being too young to be on social media, but being on social media and violating, COPPA and all of those things. So So he had done a lot of work with like digital parenting and providing resources for parents to help them talk to their children about their use of online tools and products and resources. And I met him at a think tank. It was a sort of a closed door think tank that he and I were both recruited to, among lots of other leaders in the ed tech space and safety space. And he didn't have an educator on staff. And after that meeting, he pulled me aside and said, would you write a post for connectsafely.org? So I did. And then I ended up writing a couple of more. And then about 6 months later, he said, I just need to put you on staff because I just need your brain. And it's really rewarding work because as someone who's a teacher coach, not only is it important for me to convey and share the research around the pedagogy and the teaching practices, but also the safety practices when you're implementing these tools. And so the work at school provides insights to the nonprofit. The work with the nonprofit provides insights to the work at the school. And so the jobs really feed each other. It really is. It's a lot to have 2 jobs.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
And I also have kids and, a life. And, but I love the work and it's so different that I can't imagine giving either one up. We also, for a little plug, in 2 weeks, we run an annual event called Safer Internet Day. Safer Internet Day is an international event to promote internet safety that's targeted toward kids. It's hosted in 100 countries nationwide. Worldwide. And Connect Safely is the U.S. host. So 2 years ago, we hosted it in L.A. at Universal Studios. Last year, it was in Philadelphia at the U.S. Constitution Center. And this year, we're hosting it in Austin, Texas at the Facebook headquarters there. And we bring in about 200 students from the local school districts. So this year, it's 200 from Austin ISD. And we run a full day of programming with like celebrity speakers and interactive activities. We bring in the companies like Snapchat and Twitter so the kids can actually talk to the companies and tell them how they're using it. And it's really exhilarating to be around kids who are excited to be told, no, we trust you to make the internet a better place. We're not here to tell you to refrain from using it. We're not here to tell you that you're doing it wrong. We're here to tell you this is on you and we trust you and you can do it. And it's just one of the best days of the year.
So cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Cool. So if our listeners want to reach out to you and get in touch with you, what's the best way to do it?
So by far Twitter is the best way, and my handle is @KerryHawk02, so it's KerryHawk02, and that's also my website is kerryhawk02.com.
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guys live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.